We are back, Piedmont University Athletics on YouTube. Makadreski and Chloe Spraglin bringing you the action here from Lauer Milk Field on a beautiful, beautiful Sunday here in Demorest, GA. 72 degrees, mostly cloudy skies. It was actually pretty dark earlier today with just how much cloud coverage we had today, but that's not stopping the baseball here as the team takes the field for the national anthem. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we will give you a quick little pregame as well as the starting lineups. So don't go anywhere. You're listening to Piedmont University Athletics on YouTube. Welcome back to Piedmont University Athletics on YouTube. Makadreski and Chloe Spraglin here from Lauer Milk Field, bringing you the action as we see the conclusion of this series between the hosting Piedmont University Lions and the visiting LaGrange College Panthers. Yesterday, LaGrange came into this series 9-0 against conference opponents. The Lions sweep Game 1 and Game 2 by final scores of 6-3 and 10-3. Now the Lions look to make the sweep total, make it complete, and sweep all three games at home against a team that had no losses in conference play and giving them 3 L's in a row. Chloe, what is the mindset for a team coming into a game where you're on the brink of sweeping an opponent at home?
No mercy. You have to have absolutely no mercy whatsoever. No mercy when you're in the on the mound, in the batter's box, in the infield, in the outfield. You absolutely have to go for everything, just because this is a team, although LaGrange, we certainly didn't see LaGrange play their best baseball yesterday, but this is still a team that's ranked #1 in the CCS. This is still a very good baseball team, ranked #9 in the nation as well. This is a great team, and I guarantee you, Matt, they are not happy about what happened yesterday. I guarantee you their coach lit a fire underneath them, so they're going to come out looking for blood. The Lions have to go out there and make sure they don't sniff it.
And I can tell you somebody else representing LaGrange who was not happy after yesterday, and that was the fans who were here. They were relentless. They were clapping on seemingly almost every single at-bat throughout both baseball games, and so you also heard them make a lot of arguments during a lot of calls. And wow, we are off to a fast start as the leadoff man, Rhett Mixon's going to line out at short. A great catch by Nathan Mix to get things started. Maybe we should run through these starting lineups real quick. Chloe, why don't you run through the starting lineups for LaGrange?
So for the visiting Panthers, number 1 in the lineup, who just lined out, was Rhett Mixon. The right fielder, number 2, who's at bat right now, center fielder Jorge Fregoso. Number 3, the third baseman, Joe Ruth. Batting cleanup, left fielder Kurt Bonner. Batting 5th, the catcher, David Smigelski. Batting 6th, the DH for the day, Jared Aldridge. Batting 7th, first baseman Brody Hollingsworth. Batting 8th, second baseman Adam Dorn. Batting 9th, the shortstop Jackson McKelvey. And the pitcher, the righty, Bailey Coleman for today.
Jorge Fregoso just popped out on that last at-bat. Now we see Joe Ruth step up to the plate. And for Joe Ruth, nothing through those first 2 games as far as hits are concerned. And this one's going to be popped up over by the Piedmont dugout, but it looks like it'll touch down right by the dugout just behind the walls. It'll be an 0-1 count for Ruth. 2 outs already here in the top of the first. Ruth going to ground this one over to second. It's going to go off the glove of the second baseman Colton Hicks and leak into center. Carter Ballstat will scoop that up, and Joe Ruth, a single for his first at-bat, and that's the first hit he has seen in this series. And now we see Kurt Bonner, the left fielder, step up to the plate. He's been pretty stellar in this series.
Yeah, Joe Ruth, a guy I've done some research on, he's the all-time hits leader for LaGrange College, and he leads all active members for hits in NCAA Division III. He's an incredible player. Shocking to see that in his first 2 games he didn't get a hit on. Obviously getting his first one there. It's going to be tough. I told you, they're coming out for blood. They are not happy about losing their undefeated streak, let alone getting swept in the doubleheader yesterday.
And now Ruth going to try and steal second. Will they catch him stealing? Yes, they will. 3 up and 3 down, and just like that, Joe Ruth caught stealing, and that is going to end the inning for LaGrange in a fashion I don't think anybody was really expecting. That was very unconventional. We saw the 3 best hitters on this lineup just line out, followed by a pop out, and then caught stealing after you had that successful single. It's got to be so deflating when, even when things were starting off so bad, you had the line out and the pop out, you finally saw that single to get things going. You think, okay, you finally got the ball rolling, and then you're feeling real good, and then, like you said, you're out for blood. You've got the aggressive nature going. You try to steal second, and you're caught stealing to get out of the inning. That has to be so deflating for you.
It sure does, but I was honestly really shocked that they went for the steal there. I think that they were trying to catch the Lions off guard all series long. No one for LaGrange that stepped on base attempted a steal. They barely even got off the bag for a lead. They barely. So when I saw Joe Ruth going for that steal, I was shocked. But the second I saw our catcher Nelson stand up for that, I knew that, you just got to trust in your guys. And the Lions, they have worked on this all year long, because when it comes to the best force stealing, which Piedmont loved to steal, you got to know how to defend it. They defended it great right there, and that's the end of the top of the first.
Here's something curious to look at. Joe Ruth had 2 stolen bases this season prior to this game. That's the first time he has been caught stealing.
Wow.
This season. So he was 2 for 2. Now he's 2 for 3 this season as far as his base stealing is concerned. And while we're here, we're going to run through the starting lineups for Piedmont as leadoff man Colton Hicks is about to step off. Here's the lineup. Leading off for the Lions is the second baseman, number 3, Colton Hicks, followed by the catcher, number 1, Tyler Nelson. Batting third is the center fielder, number 26, Carter Ballstat. Cleanup hitters, number 27, the third baseman. Cleanup, Kyle Carlson. Batting fifth is the right fielder, number 23, Trace Kate. Batting sixth is number 24, the first baseman, Mac Barton. Batting seventh is the left fielder, number 15, Isaac Molinak. Batting eighth is the designated hitter, number 14, Scott Lyon. And rounding up the lineup is the shortstop, number 11, Nathan Mix. And on the mound for the Lions, who we saw at the very top of the inning, but really didn't get to speak too much about, Adam Mativier, the right-handed pitcher and the sophomore, number 16. He has a 2-1 record, a 5.11 ERA, and 14 strikeouts so far this season.
Yeah, we'll have to wait to see more of what he can do. Didn't have to pitch too much in the top of the first. It's just really what you love to see. Pop out, ground out, in a stolen base, your infield really getting it done for you. We'll have to see more before we can truly comment on. But someone we can comment on is the righty on the mound currently, Bailey Coleman. See what he can do, see what his pitches are, his go-tos, and see how the Lions can get on against him.
First pitch from Coleman is a beautiful pitch down Georgia Street, right in the zone for strike 1. Coleman comes into this with a 6.63 ERA and a 2-2 record. Hicks going to ground this one over the short, throw to first, and that will be out. Number 1, a brilliant throw from the shortstop, McKelvey, to retire Colton Hicks. And now we'll see the catcher, Tyler Nelson, step up to the plate. As I was saying, Bailey Coleman, the starting pitcher for LaGrange, 42 strikeouts so far this season, which is on the higher end as far as this LaGrange bullpen is concerned. First pitch from Coleman to Nelson. Finds the zone yet again for strike one. So he's throwing nothing but perfect pitches so far in these first 3 pitches. Nelson's going to pop this one. It's actually going to go over into right field, and that'll be a brilliant catch for out number 2. A fly out for Tyler Nelson, and brings Carter Ballstat up to the plate for Piedmont.
Carter Ballstat had a great day yesterday. We saw him make one defensively. We saw him make a SportsCenter top 10 highlight. See what he can do here in the batter's box.
First pitch to Ballstat. Ballstat will take, and once again finds the zone. Bailey Coleman has not thrown a single ball yet. Well, everything has been a strike. And just as I say that one just a little high off the plate, I'm assuming, as that's going to even the count at 1-1.
Just love the commentator's curse, don't you?
Yeah, I don't think we mind this time. Swing and a miss from Ballstat this time. Now it's a 1-2 count with 2 outs. Coleman looking to strike out Ballstat and get LaGrange out of the inning. Ballstat going to ground this over to third, throw to first. Does he beat the throw? No, he does not. That's going to be the inning. Carter Ballstat, a great chance to get to first on a single, but all for naught. A brilliant throw from Joe Ruth to get that ball over to first for the ground out, and out number 3. We are scoreless through the first inning, and here
Welcome back to Piedmont University Athletics on YouTube. My name's Chloe Spradlin. With me is Matt Kodrowski. We're entering the top of the second here. 0s on the scoreboard so far, as we've seen in both games so far. It's been a sweep so far. The Lions are trying to break out the brooms for the full series. Can't quite say it yet. It's been a competitive one all series long, as we see that one fouled off by, I do believe that's David Smigelski in the box.
It's Kurt Bonner. Kurt Bonner, he stepped up in the top of the first inning, but the inning ended after Joe Ruth, the third baseman, the third man on the lineup, was caught stealing after getting a single, and that was out number 3. So Kurt Bonner, he technically only faced 1 pitch, but didn't really mean anything, so now he gets to step back into the box here in the top of the second.
See that one, he called a ball. So 2-2 the count, no outs so far here in the second. First inning went rather quickly. It was more or less 1-2-3, not quite, but it's extremely. Everyone went out quickly there. We'll see if we can get an out quickly here, and the Lions get it done after a quick ground out. So now
He was also pretty good for LaGrange so far in this series.
Smigelski so far batting .250 on the series with 8 at-bats, got 2 hits to his name and an RBI as well. No foul that one off.
One of those hits was a double. That's one of the big things, and he already has 1 RBI, so he had, I wanted to make sure I had that right. He does have an RBI double so far in this series, so he can definitely bring home the runs. He can generate a lot of offense for these Panthers here in Game 3.
There's a lot of guys on this Panthers lineup who can bring in the offense, and we'll see if any offense will be made there, but instead it will be an out for Smigelski. Quick 1-2 are out. Let's see if we can make it 3 here. Jared Aldridge, the designated hitter, will step up on the series so far. He's batting .333. 3 hits out of 9 at-bats. Got an RBI to his name as well.
Not a great throw by Nathan Mix. A great field, though. And Mac Barton able to elevate and make the catch, and he just had enough time to go for the tag to just gets Smigelski out of there. Now you see Aldridge stepping up. He fouled off that first one. But Aldridge, another big threat in this Panthers line. And he is far lower on this roster, but he's just generated a lot of offense. He actually had the RBI single. He got the first run for LaGrange in Game 1. He really kind of got the pace going for LaGrange so far in this series.
There's a lot of guys in this LaGrange lineup who, although they might not be exactly the highest when it comes to a batting average or their slugging percentage, especially when you've got 3 guys that came into the series batting over 400. We talked about the man who's actually on deck right now, Brady Hollingsworth. As we see a ball, it's going to be popped up into center. Easy can of corn in the outfield. That'll end the top of the second. We'll go down to the bottom of the second. See the Lions step up with Kyle Carson to lead off for that one. But there's a lot of guys in this LaGrange lineup who really pose a lot of difficulties. A man who was who was on deck next was Brody Hollingsworth, who at the beginning of the series wasn't even batting above 200. Right now he's batting 400 in the series. He had 2 RBI doubles to his name yesterday. Was incredible. So it's just, there's great coaching here. It's a great environment in LaGrange, and they've got a lot of guys who can get it done off the bench or common starters.
Yeah, Brody Hollingsworth, he came into yesterday's game batting, I believe, 145. We have since updated that batting average. He's now batting .222. His slugging percentage was the same as his batting average. He was batting 145. He had never gotten anything past a single. And then yesterday we see him, he had 2 doubles, and those are the first doubles we've seen from him this entire season. So Brody Hollingsworth, he can really just launch it out there. He has a lot of power. He can send it deep, and we saw it yesterday in Game 2 when he sent a couple of them off the wall over at center field. And he's definitely got enough to leave the yard. And he is a very dangerous hitter, and his batting average really doesn't do him a justice.
Well, there's another guy who's a dangerous hitter, and he's about to come up to bat right now, Kyle Carlson.
I think he's as dangerous a hitter as he is a fielder. We saw a brilliant play from Carlson in Game 2 yesterday that was pretty much on par with ball stats. Magnificent diving catch at center yesterday as well. Now it's in the same game. Carlson made a very, I can't even describe the amount of difficulty in this over-the-shoulder kind of catch. He almost looked like Odell Beckham out there making that catch, just reaching the glove out there, and that actually got the Lions out of the inning with that play.
Yeah, he's absolutely incredible in the infield. See what he can do here in the batter's box. He'll take a ball to start off. Bailey Coleman on the mound so far, proving to be, as he'll throw a strike there, proving to be certainly one of the best pitchers we've seen for LaGrange so far. The pitching for LaGrange in the series so far has been wildly inconsistent. We'll see the 1-1 pitch there in the dirt. 2-1 the count now. No outs. I've only seen 1 man on base so far in this game, this 3rd game of the series. And we'll see a called ball. Looked extremely tight. So 3-1 the count. Hitters count. We'll see if Kyle Carson will take a swing here. And he decides not to. Good patience by him, and he'll take the walk. So now a man on first base, and just another guy who you want to see step up, Trace Kate, batting .316 on the year so far.
We saw Trace K in Game 2 yesterday. At 5 at-bats, he had 4 singles on the day. His bat was hot that game. You can only hope just for a similar result here in Game 3. And now we see Bailey Coleman attempt a pickoff play at first. And we see that a lot from these LaGrange pitchers, trying to pick off the runners at first.
We've seen this all series long, sometimes to the detriment of LaGrange, as we'll see it happen again. LaGrange, these pitchers, they are nervous when it comes to Piedmont base runners. These Piedmont base runners, specifically a guy who we'll see later in the lineup, Nathan Mix. These guys know how to run, they know how to steal, they know how to get it done when they're in the infield. Great stuff all series long. But there's been times where the pitchers for LaGrange have been too focused on the base runners and have been missing their spots in the zone.
I mean, to be fair, in this starting lineup for the Lions, we have seen 79 stolen base attempts just from this starting lineup.
Yeah, these guys love to steal. They've got a lot of athleticism to do it. Extremely fast, extremely quick. They know how to get around and know how to fake out. These pitchers fake out second baseman, even to third. They've been doing some steals as well. We'll see the 1-0 pitch here. No steal attempt from Carlson.
Here's something else to keep in mind. The typical leadoff man that we've seen from the line so far this season, Cole Ellis, he's out with a broken finger, if I'm not mistaken. Even if you sub him in at the designated hitter position in place of Scott Lyon, because I'm only saying Scott Lyon because Scott Lyon hasn't attempted a stolen base yet. Cole Ellis is 21 of 22 with stolen bases this season. One
of the most dynamic guys in the lineup. He's a huge miss, but the one thing about Piedmont is their depth. They've been extremely successful this year with their depth. They can switch out a lot of people in the lineup, so good to see other guys stepping up in this lineup. 2-1 the count now, no outs, still a man on first. Haven't seen the steal attempt from the Lions yet, but we certainly see him reaching. We'll see a high popped up ball in the infield. Looks like it's going to be the shortstop to catch that one. Easy for the first out of the game. And next up to bat, we'll see Mac Barton. Mac Barton on the year, batting .367. 15 runs to his name, 2 homers, and 8 RBIs. What a great season so far for Mac Barton.
And Mac Barton really kind of stepped into a position because there's been a lot of questions in that first base position for Piedmont over the years. There have been a lot of different players to play that position. We've seen James Whitmer, Owen Helgeson, Grant Olson, just a bunch of players who have been here for a long time, and seeing Mac Barton really kind of settle into that first base position.
See a ball,
He's just done a brilliant job of manning that position and being just as much of a threat offensively as much as he is defensively.
He's certainly done a good job so far. We saw him make a good play earlier in the game. We saw a ball that was played in double play territory, didn't end up getting the double play, but just went out. So now we enter 2-out territory. Might see some 2-out magic like we've seen all series long from the Lions. Isaac Molinak stepping up to bat. Usually trades off the DH position. Was DH at one point yesterday, but instead today he'll be positioned in left field. The sophomore on the year batting .373. A lot of guys in this Piedmont lineup batting above 3 or .350. Great stuff all around from Scally's boys. He's doing a great job this year.
I'm just going to point out something that you said that caught my eye. Sophomore. Look at how many sophomores are on this team. Tyler Nelson, sophomore. Kyle Carlson, sophomore. Mac Barton, sophomore. Isaac Molnak, sophomore. Starting pitcher, Adam Mativier, sophomore. Player who's currently out for the Lions but is usually in that starting lineup, Cole Ellis, sophomore. This team is so young and so deep and so dynamic. This team can really contend for years and years to come, and I think that's a credit to how Coach Scally has really recruited over the past couple of years. And man, this really makes me really excited for Piedmont baseball, just what they are able to prove in these next couple of years. This is really a team that can contend, especially for a CCS title.
Especially how we've seen them play in this series alone. Just looking at this series against the LaGrange Panthers. They've done so well. Obviously, they've got the sweep yesterday, but against a team that is this dynamic, they're ranked number 9, not just in the Southeast, in the nation, LaGrange are. And they've really just taken it to them. They're doing a great job. And like you said, this is very exciting to see so many young guys putting in the work for Coach Scally. We'll see this here at the Jug for years to come. See that ball fouled off. Isaac Molinak will go 0-2 in the count. Still 2 outs.
Do you want to know something even more curious? The starting pitchers from yesterday who won both games for the Lions against LaGrange yesterday, both of them sophomores.
Great recruiting from Coach Scally and his staff. See another attempt to pick off the base runner. And we'll start to see soon enough, just because LaGrange truly love to try and pick these guys off. We tend to hear the Piedmont dugout get really impatient. We'll see a ball played in there. Might be a bloop, and it definitely is. And another mistake from the right fielder, and we'll see 2 men on base now. Isaac Molinak had stopped at first after seeing, it looked like the catcher had just dropped it, was going to pick it up, instead dropped it again. So Isaac Molinak, with his speed, quickly went to go slide all the way in to second base. Doesn't mind getting the dirt all over his jersey. So now we've got 2 men in scoring position. Certainly starting to see some of that milk jug magic. Now up to bat, Scott Lyon.
I think what happened on that play is we had a bit of rain overnight, and as a result, because of the weather, the game actually got pushed back. This game was originally slotted for 1 o'clock, and it got pushed back to 2 o'clock, and so I think the ground might still be a little bit wet after the rain, and so I don't really know if it was that the right fielder Rhett Mixon's foot got stuck or if he slipped, but that ball, when it touched down, it just sat there. Like it's not so much that it got plugged, but there was no bounce whatsoever, and it's really hard to try and make a field off of a ball that does not respond the way you are expecting it to when it bounces in front of you.
Unlucky ground out there, leaves 2 men on base, and the score stays at 0 apiece. Not what you want to see, but a good way to start off early days so far in the third of the series. And we got a lot of baseball to go, so you can't get down on yourself too much about that. Obviously, Scott Lyon wanted to get something there, wanted to get a couple RBIs and put his team up in front. But, a lot of baseball to go, so can't get too upset about that. But, yeah, to your point about the rain, here in spring in Demorest, Georgia, it loves to rain. It's been raining quite a bit this week. We were even, it's the second time we've seen a game rescheduled just because initially it's supposed to be Friday 1 game, Saturday 1 game, and Sunday 1 game, but yesterday ended up being a doubleheader because of all the rain we saw on Friday. So, it is a wet day out there. The sun is out. It's going to get a little humid out there as well. So, expecting to see the pitchers bringing out Rosenbag, having to grab some dirt to get some sort of wick some of the moisture off of their hands and able to get a good pitch out there. So we're going to see Adam Metivier step out once again, get a better look at him as well. 1 hit on the day so far. That was from Joe Ruth earlier.
Now we have 7, 8, and 9 up to bat for the Panthers here as we enter the top of the 3rd inning. We're going to get things started here with Brody Hollingsworth, who we were mentioning earlier, batting .400 in this series with a pair of doubles, the first 2 doubles of his season so far. And he is really kind of shown up out of nowhere, kind of by surprise.
Brady Hollingsworth just telling his dugout, telling the Piedmont dugout, and he told us here in the booth for sure. We commentators cursed him after we said what his batting average was. Before coming into this game, like we said before, his batting average was under 200. And he certainly shut all of us up here at the Jug. Definitely
a pitch from Metivier.
Someone to be wary of, and that just speaks to the lineup that LaGrange has. All of them, although they might not be batting well statistically, they're all threats. And we'll see him become a threat now on first base after being walked by Metivier.
That was a 4-pitch walk from Adam Metivier, which is kind of almost uncharacteristic. He's only had 6 walks, make that 7. But now we see Adam Dorn step up. Adam Dorn, another player on this LaGrange lineup that has really kind of struggled also with no hits so far in this series. First pitch to Dorn. It looks like he was lining up to bunt there. Pulls out, and it'll be called ball 1. So 1-0 count with no outs. And Hollingsworth sitting comfortably at first. Tivier with a glance back at first. He'll deliver to Dorn. Dorn lines up to bunt. He'll get down. Mativier scoops it up and makes a quick throw to first. Hollingsworth will advance to second, but Dorn will be out at first. And now we will see Jackson McKelvey, the shortstop, step to the plate. McKelvey, he's currently batting .333, a perfect third of his at-bats so far in this series have been getting down. He hasn't seen anything past a single so far, only a couple of hits at 6 at-bats, but he does have 1 run, so he has managed to come home at least once in this series. First pitch is in the dirt. Actually gets away from Tyler Nelson a little bit. He'll have to run out and pick it up, but Hollingsworth is going to stay where he's at second. It'll be a 1-0 count for McKelvey as he steps back into the right-handed batter's box.
Seen a lot of balls being thrown. Looks like just Mativier is missing his spots. Didn't miss that one, though.
Mativier finding the upper half of the zone perfectly as that off-speed pitch just sits perfectly. Evens count at 1-1 with 1 out. It's a lot of ones here in the top of the third. Mativier with a glance back at second. He will deliver from the stretch. McKelvey with the grounder over to second and throw to first, and that will be out. Number 2, Hollingsworth will advance from second to third, but Jackson McKelvey will ground out. And now we're back to the top of the lineup where we see Rhett Mixon step back up to the plate. He had a line out in his last time out. He actually swung on the first pitch and it went right to Nathan Mixon, the shortstop, for that first out in the top of the first. Here's the first pitch to Mixon here in the top of the third. Mixon will take, and that finds the zone for strike 1.
That was a tight one. Perfect placement right on the edge of the plate there. Have to be extremely pinpoint with these pitches. Don't want anything wild with a man lurking on third. So we'll see that one go called ball.
That time, Mativier just missed it a little bit too far on the outside. He was counting 1-1 with 2 outs. Runner on third. Leadoff man at bat. Here is the pitch, and Mixon's going to get a piece of that one as that one gets sent back, and I believe that one's going to touch down just behind the stadium, kind of right by the Piedmont softball field.
Would like to see Mativier, get one swinging or looking right here. Not here at the top of the third. We've not seen a strikeout yet. And this one will go foul over to the softball field. But yeah, we've not seen Mativier have a strikeout yet.
Mixon's just fighting off these pitches right now, just staying alive, racking up the pitch count, just trying to tire out Adam Mativier. A 1-2 count. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. He'll have to make the throw to first, and that will be out. Number 3. So Brody Hollingsworth was able to get walked to first, and he managed to work his way all the way to third after a bunt from Adam Dorn and a ground out from Jackson McKelvey, but the strikeout from Rhett Mixon, the first for Adam Mativier in this game, is what ends the top of the third inning as we go to the bottom of the third inning, and now the Lions have a chance to break this tie.
Once again, we see the Lions infield getting it done. This infield, whatever Coach Scally is doing in practice when it comes to infielding, it is working. This is one of the best infields in the CCS, and they truly, once again, they just get him, knock him out, and we're going to see Nathan Mix up to bat, one of those guys in the infield who just can get it done. The transfer from Albert. Transferred from up north, I do believe.
Adrian.
Do believe he transferred from up north.
He did. Nathan Mix is actually originally from Columbus, Ohio, transferred from Adrian. So definitely an up north guy, now here in the mountains of Demorest, GA, and he has been nothing short of impactful. That is the best way I could describe how Nathan Mix has been. He's done a great job of manning his shortstop position, and then at the plate, he's currently batting .289 with a .361 slugging percentage. He has 3 triples so far this season and 1 double, and he's 4 of 7 as far as his stolen bases have gone. Now we'll see Mix walk up to the plate, and Bailey Coleman will step back up to the mound. And Bailey Coleman, he has been pretty stellar so far through these first couple of innings. He's thrown only a handful of balls. Everything else has managed to find the zone for a strike.
You mentioned Nathan Mix and his base running. He's one of the best base runners on this team, and I'm sure Coach Scally has purposefully put him at the bottom of the lineup just because once he gets on base, you got your top 3 guys, 1, 2, and 3, Hicks, Nelson, and Ballstat step up. Those are 3 guys that can get him moving.
He has a very good on-base percentage. His on-base percentage is currently .410, and he has 15 walks so far, and he's had 19 strikeouts, but 15 walks so far. That is the second most that we see in this starting lineup. The only player with more walks is Colton Hicks, who comes after him. He has 16.
1-2 the count. We're starting to see the jug really start to fill up. Had a couple alumni games for both men's and women's soccer earlier, so a lot of guys stepping up. And Nathan Mix, was gonna say Nathan Mix stepped up there, but that one just hooks foul.
That was a beautifully hit ball. It was sent right into that soft area of left field, and if that had just gone down fair, I think we would have been looking at a possible triple. I thought for sure with his speed, he could have easily rounded second and had plenty of options as far as heading over to third.
I mean, take a look.
For not.
If you took a look from where Nathan Mix was walking back after realizing it was foul, he was right about to touch second base already. He is just so speedy, one of the fastest guys in this lineup, so dynamic, a great pickup from the transfer portal.
And this time, this pitch is going to miss the zone entirely. It evens the count at 2-2. Coleman's going to step back onto the rubber. Mix is ready to go. Here's the windup and the delivery. Swing and a miss from Mix, and that will retire him. And now we're going to go back to the top of the lineup. First strikeout for Bailey Coleman. Now we see Colton Hicks, the second baseman, step back up to the plate. He had to ground out his first time out. Hicks going to ground this over to short, and it looks like it'll be another ground out as that makes it over to first, and he's safe. It appears that the first baseman might have missed the tag, or somehow Colton Hicks manages to reach around the tag and get to first.
Great
Go
stuff.
down as a single.
Yeah, and that was just a mistake from the infield of the... Yeah, there's a mistake there, error called on the infield. Just not a great throw. And once again, we're going to see Bailey Coleman trying to pick off this runner.
With all these pick attempts, it gives us a kind of more of an opportunity to kind of talk about just, once again, the base running that we've seen from the Lions. They just have a lot of speed, and as a result, so many players on this roster have a slugging percentage that's over 500, and only 3 players have a slugging percentage that's sub 500, but they're also above 350, which is outstanding hitting, outstanding baseball. And when you are seeing a large majority of your hits resulting in more than one base, I mean, really, it's outstanding offense, and you're setting yourself up for just an explosive offense, bringing home so many runs, so many opportunities. And so I think that when the bats are cracking and the bats are hot for the Lions, it really is a beautiful sight. This one's going to get set deep into center. The center fielder, Fregoso, will have to backpedal to track that one down, but it will be caught for a flyout and out number 2. And now we see Carter Ballstat, the center fielder, step up to the plate with a runner on first. Ballstat just loves himself some RBIs. He has 35 RBIs. That is the leader on this team.
Chance for Ballstat to grab another one here with a man on first, see what he can do.
Ballstat, he's the leader in RBIs. He's the leader in runs. He's in the top 5 as far as hit by pitches, which isn't really the best thing you want to be in the top 5. And he leads his team in home runs so far this season. He has 6.
Grounded out earlier today in his first at bat. Let's see what he can do here. Would not love to see a ground out here because that would end the inning.
Hopefully we'll see the first pitch to Ballstat here, and we do. Ballstat cranks this one to deep left center field. Bye-bye baseball, that's out of here. No, it's not, it dies on the wall, but Ballstat will round second. He'll stay where he's at, but Colton Hicks will come home. Oh my goodness, I thought for sure that one was gonna leave the yard, but goodness gracious, that one definitely had a chance. And he hit about a foot below the top of that wall. I thought for sure that one was going to leave the yard.
Matt, I'm blaming you for that one because you cursed that. That should have been out. Oh my goodness, what a hit by Ballstat. We were just saying we would love to see him grab an RBI there. He certainly did. We saw a man touch base or touch home plate, so now the score is 1-0. Was going to say that at this point in both games here in the bottom of the third, there had already been a run scored. I thought we were going to go into the fourth without a run on the board, but never count out the Lions. 2-out magic here at the jug, and now we'll see Kyle Carlson up to bat with Ballstat on second. Definitely a chance to make that one turn into 2 or maybe 3 on the board.
Kyle Carlson, he's tied for second in home runs on this team. So, as equally a threat offensively as much as Carter Ballstat is. Since he has shown up here at Piedmont, I've seen him as almost like a Carter Ballstat protege as far as offensively. He's got a lot of bag of tricks. He has a terrific on-base percentage. And he's a great slugging percentage as well, and even 500. That one's going to get down as it touches down the infield. That one gets away from the first baseman. Carlson's going to advance to second off of the error, and Ballstat is going to round third and head for home. And so now we have 2 runs on the board for the Lions off of an RBI. You could technically say an RBI, but Ballstat definitely came in off of that error.
That was an error. You said he was a Carter Ballstat protege. Maybe not exactly how we drew it out, but Ballstat had a double, and now Carlson's got a double. Thank you to the error, but now the score goes up to 2 and up to bat now, Trace Kate.
A couple of errors from LaGrange has really kind of plagued them in this inning. We saw the ball that touched down in front of Rhett Nixon that just stood there, and then we see the ball slip away from the first baseman, Brody Hollingsworth, a couple of times in this inning alone, and that has really what stemmed it, these couple runs here for the Lions. It might just be a fact that when the ball hits the ground here, it gets wet, maybe gets a little slippery, a little hard to catch. I don't really know, but something is really affecting these LaGrange players to get a hold of the ball as it's coming into the glove.
And just today in general has been a completely different ball game than we saw in the 2 yesterday. Very cloudy. Yesterday was all sunny. The wind is a lot stronger, as you can see in right center with the American flag waving. A lot of different factors affecting the guys today.
Here's the pitch to Kate. That one's going to catch him, and it looks like he might have caught him in the side. That's the first hit by pitch we'll see from Bailey Coleman. And I don't know if that ball just slipped out of his hand funny, but if that's the case, then once again we're seeing the conditions of the field really having an effect on these LaGrange players. And now we're going to see Mac Barton, the first baseman, step back up to the plate. Runners on first and second for the Lions. Mac Barton, he had a pair of foul balls in yesterday's game 2 that would have left the yard had they been fair. But, oh my goodness, with the power that he can pack behind. He certainly has enough to bring these runs home, and you can really see the outfield, deep in the outfield, really playing for something that's going to go far.
And one thing we're seeing now, we're seeing a man on first and a man on second for Piedmont. Not uncommon to see them go for the double steal. It might not happen here, that there's already 2 outs, but we have seen them try it before. We do see them both leading off the bag. So just keep your eye out for that and see if anything does happen there. We'll see a ball called, but 2 guys, they're already thinking about it, and Bailey Coleman, just like every other pitcher we've seen so far in the series for LaGrange, has been very, very cautious around these Piedmont base runners.
Both Kyle Carlson and Trace Kate on base right now. Both have 5 attempted steals or stolen base attempts. Barton's going to send this one for right center field, shallow right center field. Will it get down? Yes, it will, and we'll see Carlson come home. Kate's going to stay at third. It'll be an RBI single from Mac Barton. That is the issue that you see when your outfield is so deep. You leave such a large window there in the shallow outfield, and Mac Barton finds that window. That one touches down right in the middle of what you would call the Bermuda Triangle between the second baseman, the center fielder, and the right fielder. Now we have runners on first and third. We're going to see a mound visit from the LaGrange head coach. He's made a lot of mound visits over the course of this series. We see a lot of pitchers, primarily in Game 2. I believe we saw a grand total of about 4 different pitchers from LaGrange in Game 2. Only 2 pitchers from either side in Game 1.
And one thing you mentioned, Mac Barton, and all of the outfielders are pushed very deep. That's just the nature of Mac Barton. They're expecting, as we've seen him do multiple times this season, to just hammer it and get one out near the wall or past the wall, anything like that. And so when Mac Barton is going to hit not exactly a bloop, but one that's shallow, it's going to catch these outfielders by surprise, and that's how he gets a lot of his singles. He's very good at that.
Yeah, that's one of those things. Baseball's not so much going for the furthest hit, making sure that every hit leaves the yard. Sometimes it's going for the smartest hit, going for the place that has the best window. Mac Barton put it in the place that had the best window. It touched down in the most open space, and it brought home the runs. And that is really what is keeping this team, this inning going. And now we have 3 runs home for the Lions. This one's getting sent into right center field. Will that one touch down? No, it won't. Red Mixon tracks it down. We see the center fielder Fregoso lay out, and Red Mixon had to kind of make a hurdle over his own teammate to make that play, and he does. That's out number 3, but a brilliant hit from Isaac Molinak to give that one a chance, and Red Mixon really had to get on his workhorse for that one and track that one down, and that's just a fantastic play by the right fielder, Rhett Mixon, to get the Panthers out of that inning.
It is a great play by Mixon. Didn't see that ball drop like we have seen others prior. Just held up a little too much. Maybe it might have been some of the wind that we saw at the time. But now you look at the end of the inning. You're at the top of the 4th. And you, as Piedmont, you lead by 3 runs. You're feeling good, but you can't get too comfortable. I feel like this is a time where obviously you've got the momentum in your hand. And we've seen they've rarely trailed all series long. You can't let the Lions get too comfortable with this lead because, as we know, LaGrange are coming up to bat. And as we've seen, they're not happy about what happened in yesterday's 2 games.
Now we see LaGrange step back up here as we enter the top of the 4th inning. We lead things off with the center fielder, number 6, Jorge Fregoso.
Jorge Fregoso, in his first at-bat, had a fly out. Had a very good showing yesterday, batting .429 in the series. We'll see what he can do here against Mativier. It'll be a nice little hopper over to first, and that's a quick first. Actually, it's safe. It looks like it was just juggled a little bit by the first baseman, Mac Barton.
It's going to be ruled as a bobble. It actually popped out of his glove, and Mac Barton looked to pick it up with his bare hand. And if he could do that quickly enough, it would have still counted as a force out. But by then, it looked like Fregoso had beaten that, I guess you could say, pickup. So it'll still go down as an error for Mac Barton, unfortunately. The first error we'll see from the Lions, and so Fregoso is going to get to first off of that error.
See that ball come over near us, right next to the concession stand. Fouled back. It's an untypical error from Mac Barton, usually, as we've spoken of before, very reliable. We'll see a ball hit there. Joe Ruth for his second hit of the day. That'll be a single. Moves a man up base, and now there's two men on base, one on first, one on second for Fregoso and Ruth.
Back-to-back singles for Joe Ruth, and now we'll see the left fielder, rather, Kurt Bonner, step to the plate. He had to ground out his last time out. That was back in the top of the second inning.
So now we see Kurt Bonner stepping up to bat. Had a ground out in his first. And he'll go for it there. Check swing will be called a strike. So 0-1 the count now. Still no outs on the board.
We've seen the umpire have to make a couple of checks over to his compatriots over in the infield for a check swing. And we've seen that the call really make or break it for LaGrange, and we've seen the fans share their thoughts on those calls, but at the same time, it's kind of baffling just how many times you have to check for a check swing.
Yeah, yesterday in the game, as we'll see this one fouled off, 0-2 the count. Yesterday, in I want to say it was the 6th or the 7th inning of the second game, Nathan Boyce came into the game for relieving one of the Piedmont pitchers. I do believe it was Schwartz who stepped off, and it was a check swing. So we'll see this ball popped up, shallow center, easy catch. Runners will not tag. They will both stay at their base. Probably the right decision. That'll be the first out of the fourth. But we saw Nathan Boyce get that final strike off of a check swing. So it's just one of these series is coming down to the very inches of the swings, inches of the bats. And we'll see the first out of the fourth. Two guys running.
We'll see Smigelski step to the plate, the catcher for LaGrange. I do want to talk about this. How about Carter Ballstad tracking down that ball? He ended up in very, very shallow center field, and that was far enough for one of the infielders, either the shortstop or the second baseman, to just kind of backpedal to track that one down. But I think with the runners on first and second, you didn't want to leave any kind of threat there.
We'll see if this ball will drop in left center. It certainly does, and Carter Ballstad misses it just a little bit. We'll see one run score. Another one will score as well. That's three. The ball game just might be all tied up. I actually do believe it might have been only two. Mistake on my part. So yes, the score is now 3-2. A man on second, so an RBI double for David Smigelski.
At the plate, number 27, Jared Aldridge.
Now Jared Aldridge will step up, and just like that, like I said in the last inning, the Lions cannot get too comfortable because, boom, the score is now 3-2, and you've only got one out on the board, a man in scoring position. Can't be missing spots here.
I mentioned earlier how Smigelski, he could just generate offense for these LaGrange Panthers. Now you have Jared Aldridge up at the plate. We already have seen him record an RBI single in this series. He's fully capable of another if he can get one down in right field. I think it would give him enough space for Smigelski around third and possibly come home.
This ball is going to be
right field.
Popped up. Runner will tag, so he will make his way to third. Slide and stands up safe. 2 outs now. A sac fly. And we'll see Brody Hollingsworth step up. Brody Hollingsworth, like we've said earlier, had 2 doubles yesterday in quick succession.
Back to back, as a matter of fact.
Had a walk in his first at-bat in this third game of the series. Can see what he can do here. Would love to see an easy pop-up. Instead, he'll take a strike. 0-1 the count now.
How about the pitching duel that we've seen between Bailey Coleman and Adam Mativier? Coleman with a walk, a strikeout, and a hit by pitch. Meanwhile, for Mativier, he has a walk and a strikeout. Both of those strikeouts for both pitchers catching those batters swinging.
It's just a testament to how competitive this matchup has been. And really, truly, all of the Lions fan knew it as we see that ball fouled off to make the count go 1-2. Lions fans, we knew this game was going to be competitive. We see how our guys play, especially at home. These guys know how to win games at the jug, and I think LaGrange, especially in the first 2 games, they might have underestimated the Lions. See this ball popped up. He got way under that. Looks like it'll go just outside the infield. Nathan Mix will make the grab, and no further damage will be done. That will be the end of the top of the 4th. We'll go over to the bottom of the 4th with another man up to bat for the Lions. We'll have that up for you as soon as we know who will be stepping up next.
It'll be Scott Lyon, the designated hitter, number 14, 8th man on the line. So it'll be 8, 9, and 1 up next for the Lions. The big thing about the Lions, just getting out of the top of that inning with that pop out, you hang on to the lead. And now you're still having that comfortable cushion. You still have the lead. Now, rather than the pressure trying to break a tie, now you're just trying to see about, okay, can I expand my lead even more? Can I have a little bit more cushion so that if there's another inning like the top of the 4th where we give up a couple of runs, we're still going to be okay. We're still going to be in good shape. So I think that's just the mindset offensively as we head into the bottom of the 4th inning. It's just how can we expand on that lead and apply some kind of cushion, because right now the pitching has been great, the defense has been great, especially in the infield, especially with what we've seen from Carter Ballstad in the outfield. And really it's just going to come down to what are you doing offensively? How are you getting hits and runners on base? How are you bringing runners home? How are you going to make sure that at the end of this game, you are the team that is on top here?
And we've seen that throughout the entirety of the series so far. In both games, both LaGrange and Piedmont have had very similar numbers when it comes to hits. Maybe Piedmont has 1 more or 2 more than LaGrange has, but the thing is, the Lions are taking advantage of these hits. We've not seen a home run in the series yet, but a lot of RBIs, a lot of, good base running, seeing how these guys can get all the way around the bases. We'll see Scott Lyon step up to the to the plate. Had a ground out in his first at-bat.
And one thing about these Lions, when they produce a lot of runs, they have a very high tendency to win these games. The lowest they have scored and the lowest runs they've been able to post on the board and get a win was a 4-2 victory against Conant when they were on that road trip just a couple of weeks ago.
Scott Lyon will step on to first after being hit square in the back on that pitch.
That'll be the second hit by pitch for Coleman, and we'll see Nathan Mix step back up to the plate. But as I was saying, the Lions really have a good tendency to win if they can produce a lot of runs. The most runs that they produce and had it result in a loss so far, from what I can see, was about 6 runs, and that was against actually the most was 7 runs, and an 11-7 loss on the road at Methodist. So when the Lions can produce runs, especially at home, they just have a higher tendency to win. So if the Lions can just produce more offensively, have more runners on base, and bring them home, they just have a much better chance at winning this game and holding on, especially against the #1 team in the conference, even after the 2 losses yesterday.
Nathan Mix at bat, 0-1 the count now, with a runner on first. Has gone for the bunt once. We'll try for it again. It'll be counted as a sack bunt as we see Scott Lyon make his way from first to second. So another man in scoring position, only 1 out, and we're back at the top of the order. Colton Hicks on the day. A ground out and reached base by error. So we'll see what Colton Hicks can do here. Would love to see a nice RBI to extend the lead. Currently 3-2 in favor of the Lions. He'll take his first pitch, called ball, low and outside. 1-0 the count. Once again, we're seeing another hush amongst the jug here.
Which is actually kind of, I don't really know how to describe it, but it's not the pattern we've seen in this series. Usually, especially from the LaGrange side, we've seen the LaGrange Panthers faithful just have this kind of clap chant that they've been doing, especially with their teams at bats when they've had a chance to really produce some runs. And oddly enough, we haven't seen anything like that here so far in Game 3, the final game of this series. And I don't know if maybe they thought the claps weren't working. I don't really know. But
they certainly didn't yesterday because Lions came out with 2 wins.
And I don't know if that's just the pitchers persevering through that kind of environment, or if it was just a case of it just didn't work. But it definitely does have an effect on your opponent. I think that I don't know. I guess it's just surprising to see the LaGrange fans kind of step away with it. To me, it almost seems like you're accepting defeat before it's even handed to you. So I don't know. That's just my thoughts on that.
Counts even at 2 now. We'll see this one popped up again, so we'll go back. Same count, 2-2. We see Scott Lyon on second after a Nathan Mix sack bunt. You're at the top of the order. Sun starting to come out just a little bit more. It's been a little brighter. Field is still extremely wet after a lot of rain happened last night. We'll see 2-2 pitch, extremely close there. That'll make the count go full. Called ball, might have been a little high outside, but that was tight as ever. So full count now. Tension palpable, knowing the importance of this game for both LaGrange and Piedmont. The full count pitch. That'll be called strike. That was another tight one. I do believe the umpire might have just gotten it right there.
That might have been a case of the gimme back call. You know, we saw the arguable ball call that brought us to the full count, and then you see one that you think maybe that one was a ball, but he ends up calling that one strike 3. So that might have just been a case of the gimme back call, or it could have been a case of the moving zone. So
we have seen throughout the series a moving zone from the umpires, but they've not taken any sort of shtick from the LaGrange or the Piedmont fans.
Now I see Tyler Nelson step up. He's had a couple of flyouts today. That's all. That's it.
So we'll see that pitch called ball.
I would just love to see Tyler Nelson just send one, but this time just have it stay on the ground. Just not have it go into anyone's glove this time.
See this one popped up high. Looks like it's going to be in the infield, and that will close out the bottom of the 4th. Had a runner making his way to the plate, but it doesn't matter. Score remains 3-2, and the Lions will leave one on base. We're going to the top of the 5th now. We'll see yet another competitive match here.
Now and going to the top of the 5th.
We'll be right back with the top of the 5th. So you're listening to Piedmont Athletics on YouTube.
Welcome back, Piedmont University Athletics on YouTube as we get started here in the top of the 5th inning. Matt Kodrowski and Chloe Spraglin bringing you the action from the series finale here as LaGrange College has made their visit here to the Jug today, or this weekend rather. This one's going to get sent to left field, and that's going to be the first hit of the day, or of this series rather, for Adam Doran. It'll go down as a leadoff double. There you go, Adam Doran. His bat has been silent all weekend, but now finally a bit of relief for him as he has a leadoff double. He's sitting comfortably at second, and we see Jackson McKelvey step up. McKelvey has no RBIs so far this series, but he's definitely produced offensively. We've
seen a lot of doubles in the series, specifically from LaGrange. So now a man in scoring position once again.
This pitch is high off the plate, and that'll go down as ball 1 for McKelvey.
McKelvey showed bunt there.
McKelvey's going to step back into the box. Interior back onto the rubber. We'll see if McKelvey lines up for bunt yet again. He does, and he pulls out of it, and it'll go down as ball 2. And it makes sense to be going for a bunt here. Usually we see that, especially when we're seeing a runner at first. But when the runner's at second and you can get that bunt down and advance them to third, you have a lot less risk, because instead of having maybe 2 bunts to get a runner to third, you have the 1 bunt to get the runner to third, and you have a lot less outs to kind of limit what you can do offensively. Here's the 2-1 pitch from Interior to McKelvey. He sends this one to left field. That one will be tracked down by Molinak, and Doran will have to stay where he is at second. It'll be a fly out for out number 1, and it brings us back to the top of the order for LaGrange as Rhett Mixon steps up to the plate for the 3rd time today. He has a line out and a strikeout so far.
It's good stuff from Molinak there, because that ball was dropping very quickly, so Molinak getting over there. One thing I'm starting to notice is the shade is coming back, and we are starting to see some dark clouds coming in, so we'll keep our fingers crossed that the game does not need to be paused, but the game's already been pushed back an hour.
First pitch to Rhett Mixon, a beautiful off-speed pitch that finds the zone for strike 1. And I don't know, we've seen Mixon find himself in these 0-2 counts a lot. He has 6 strikeouts so far in this series. This time Mixon has to turn away to avoid getting hit by that one. Mativier might have gotten away with a possible hit pitch there if Mixon just kind of stood there and just let it hit him in the shoulder. Evens accounting 1-1 with 1 out and a runner on second. It's a lot of ones here in the top of the 5th. Here's the delivery. Mixon, the line out to third. What a catch by Kyle Carlson. Give that man a gold glove.
Carlson just snow cones it. Whoa, that was right on the tip of the glove. Great catch there.
Oh my goodness. I mean, to make that kind of catch with a ball that had that kind of steam. Whoo! Kyle Carlson with the thievery.
Might need to shake out his hand a little bit to relieve some of that tension after the ball had just landed right there.
Now we'll see the center fielder, Jorge Fregoso, step up. He's got a pop out, followed by a single so far in this game. Takes an 0-1 count. Runner still at second. Interior with the delivery. And Fregoso will take again. This time evens accounting 1-1. Mativier eyeballing Nelson. A glance back at second. Here's the delivery from the stretch, and that one's high off the plate for ball 2. Brings the count to 2-1 for Fregoso. Mativier from the stretch. Here's the pitch, and Fregoso's going to get a piece of that one as it sends backward over towards the Piedmont softball field. Count is 2-2 with 2 outs. Juices are wild, believe it or not, for the first time today. We're here in the top of the 5th inning. Here's the 2-2 pitch. This one's popped back and it hops off of the sign, the Lauren Milk Field sign that kind of guards the overhang.
Laudermilk field sign, usually we've got a net underneath, as you can see, but that's the closest that ball has come to hitting anyone here inside the jug. Made my heart skip a beat for a second.
And this time it's going to be sent into right center field. Trace K will have to track it down. It goes off the wall. We will see Dorn come home from second. It'll be an RBI double for Jorge Fregoso. And just like that, LaGrange has evened this game up at 3 runs apiece.
Just like I said a couple innings ago, the Lions, when they took that 3-0 lead, or pardon me, that 3-0 lead, it was just, it felt a little, you just felt a slight sense of them getting comfortable. And yeah, I tell you what, you cannot get comfortable, especially against this LaGrange side, because now it's all tied up. You cannot leave men on base, especially when you are playing a team such like this.
Short, and Mix will catch this one for out number 3. And I do want to point out, like prior to that pop out from Joe Ruth, the claps are back. And so I think LaGrange faithful starting to regain their confidence in their team here in game 3 at the end of the top of the 5th inning. So we'll go into the bottom of the 5th inning with the score tied 3-all. Lions, now you've lost your lead and you need to break the tie. So we'll see how they do here after this quick break. You're listening to Piedmont University Athletics on YouTube. Welcome back to Piedmont University Athletics on YouTube. Lions leading things off here in the bottom of the 5th after LaGrange tied things up in the top of the inning after an RBI double from Jorge Fregoso brings home Adam Dorn from second. Lead things off with Carter Ballstadt, the center fielder for the Lions here in the bottom of the inning. So far for Ballstadt, he has a ground out and a double. First pitch to Ballstadt's going to be fouled back, and it'll go off the brick backstop. Make it an 0-1 count. Makadrowski and Chloe Spraglin here from LaGrange Field, where a cloud cover has fallen over the milk jug.
A nasty one at that. The wind has picked up. It's gotten significantly cooler on the field and here in Demorest in general. So
I guess someone's putting the milk jug in the refrigerator right now. I don't really know. Here's the 0-1 pitch to Ballstadt, finds his own for an 0-2 count, strike 2.
From the information we've got so far regarding the weather, obviously we've not stopped yet.
Ballstadt's going to send this one to shallow right field. A diving attempt by Adam Dorn to try and make the play here just over the outstretched glove for a single. A leadoff single from Carter Ballstadt, a magnificently placed ball. We'll see the third baseman Kyle Carlson step up. He's got a walk and a double so far today. As he steps up to the plate.
No out so far, 100% you're expecting Ballstadt to steal for second.
Down on that attempt, though, is Coleman's going to make sure Ballstadt stays where he's at with that pick attempt. But honestly, Ballstadt's just going to wait out through those picks, and the moment that you finally do take your attention on the batter, that's the point where he takes off and goes for second.
And we've seen that consistently, not just throughout the series, but throughout the season as well.
Tell Ballstadt got almost about halfway between first and second before heading back to first. Carlson's going to take on that first pitch for strike one. Now we see another pick attempt at Ballstadt. So he retreats back to first, and just like the Bee Gees, he's staying alive. Another pick attempt for Ballstadt, and this time Ballstadt's just going to stay on the back for a minute before taking his lead off. Coleman glancing back at first on the rubber. Here's the pitch from the stretch, and Carlson gets a piece of that one as it pops up. And it'll pop back as it lands kind of right by the stands, if I'm not mistaken. I couldn't really tell where that ball touched down. Keeps the count at 0-2. Coleman with yet another pick attempt play. That's the fourth time we've seen him try to catch Ballstadt there at first. Makes you wonder how many times are you going to try this before you realize you're not going to catch Carter Ballstadt there. That's his fifth pick attempt there at first. Make it 6. You know the saying, at first you don't succeed, try again. I don't know if trying again to pick off Ballstadt at first is really going to work here.
And he's tried and tried and tried, and so have the rest of the LaGrange pitchers all series long.
This one's going to pop up into the infield, and it'll be caught by the first baseman Hollingsworth for out number 1. Pop out for Kyle Carlson brings up Trace Kate, the right fielder, up to the plate. He has a pop out and a hit by pitch so far in this game. He had 4 singles in game 2 on 5 at bats. He was absolutely stellar in that game. So we have 1 out. Ballstadt's at first. Coleman. Hopefully the first pitch to Kate, and it'll actually be the 7th pickoff attempt for Ballstadt at first since he's gotten there.
He's getting a workout in with all the going up and down. I'm sure he does a lot of burpees to prepare for this.
Maybe a lot of squats. It's got to be hard with how many times you got to push off of your legs, just dive back to first. That one's going to miss the zone for ball 1. Kate's going to step back into the box. Ballstadt gets his lead off of the first base bag. Coleman's going to step off of the rubber for a brief second and actually step off of the mound for a second.
Looks like he might
he got some dirt in his eye.
I was going to say, he's certainly rubbing out his eye.
Coleman's going to step back onto the mound and back onto the rubber. Kate back into the right-handed batter's box. 1-0 count with 1 out, and it's the 8th pickoff attempt to try and get Ballstadt at first. Here's the 1-0 pitch to Trace Kate. Kate sends a grounder, but it's left of the third base line. It'll bring the count to 1-1 with 1 out. A lot of ones here in the bottom of the 5th inning, and 1 run here for the Lions would break this tie, and they could break this 3-3 tie, and maybe that would be enough to get a win here in game 3. And we see the 9th pickoff attempt at Ballstadt at first. I hate to be the guy who has to wash Ballstadt's jersey after this game with all the times he has to dive back at first.
That can be said for all the Piedmont players, all the times that LaGrange have had to try and pick them off, or all the times they slide, especially given the rain we've seen. They did water the dirt as well, so it's just extremely wet out there. You can see the wet spots.
You can see the clouds moving overhead. That's the 10th time we've seen Coleman try to pick off Ballstadt at first. Trace Cates only seen 3 pitches. Here's the pitch. Kate is going to send this one over to right field. Mixon's going to get on his horse to get there and diving attempt to try and get that one, but it lands in foul territory. Count will stay at 1-2. Mixon definitely had a chance to track that one down. We saw great speed from the right fielder just earlier today with a fantastic fly out on, I believe it was Isaac Molinak in the 2nd inning. Another pick attempt to get Ballstat.
Is that the 10th or the 11th?
11th time since Ballstat's gotten to first. And Coleman will pitch, and Kate's going to ground this one over into the Lions dugout. And honestly, when you're going for so many pick attempts, you talk about pitchers who are wearing out their arms, constantly trying to go for these pitches, and you see batters constantly fouling pitches off, and it racks up the pitch count. The throws to first to try and pick off a runner are just as tolling as a pitch. So why are they trying this so much? I don't really know. This one's going to be a fly ball over to right field, and this time it will stay fair, and it will be caught by Mixon for out number 2. Now Mac Barton, the first baseman, steps up to the plate. He advanced to first on fielder's choice his first time up. Then he had a single. So far his on-base percentage so far today in Game 3 has been perfect. We'll see if it stays that way as he steps into the left-handed batter's box. We have a righty-lefty matchup now. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 5th, and that is the 12th time we will see Coleman try to pick off Ballstat at first, and he's only seen 3 batters since Ballstat has gotten to that point.
Starting to see a little bit of impatience from people in the jug, just wanting Bailey Coleman to just get it over to Mac Barton. He does there.
That pitch will be in. Actually, it's going to be called strike 1.
But to go back to your point, Matt, about why so many people or so many pitchers are always trying to go to first, especially with Carter Ballstat's case, who's standing on first right now. It's more so just a bit of a warning to him. He knows that he's not going to get Ballstat out.
Now we're starting to see some of the fans congregate underneath the overpass as the rain starts to come down a little bit here in Demarest. 0-2 count for Barton, 2 outs. Ballstat's at first. That's the 13th time, or at least the 13th time I've noticed Coleman try to pick off Ballstat at first.
Yeah, Coleman's just sending warnings to Ballstat saying, don't even try it.
I think
to
he's
go for the steal.
That message. And now Ballstat will try and steal second, and he will. That is simply marvelous. Ballstat's now 16 of 16. And now Bailey Coleman really has to be kicking himself for that. He had 13 pickoffs at first to try and get Ballstat to stop stealing second. Then I guess 13 wasn't really enough of a warning for Ballstat to go ahead and steal second anyway.
It's shocking that Coleman continuously would go for the pickoff. Maybe it's just us being Piedmont faithful here and knowing what Ballstat is capable of and knowing his, what he typically does. But, I mean, it just seems like common knowledge that even when he stops throwing the pickoffs, Ballstat's going to make his way to second.
He just has so much speed, and he has these long strides, long arms, even if he has to slide into second.
Pitch is called ball. LaGrange fans are not happy about that, but
that pitch was
extremely
outside. Brings it to a full count now for Mac Barton. Ballstat has finally made his way to second off after stealing second after 13 pickoff attempts at first. And Barton's going to ground this off to first. It gets by Hollingsworth. Ballstat will round third and head for home, and he will score. Oh, my goodness.
If you look at the Piedmont dugout, they are loving it, especially not one, not two, not three. I'll go all the way up. 13 pickoff attempts, and you better believe it, he ends up stealing, and he makes his way all the way to home plate. Lions take the lead 4-3 now. And if you are Bailey Coleman, you are angry.
Furious. And you could tell by that point he was tired. He threw 13 pickoff attempts at first, plus I don't know how many attempts that Mac Barton on his at-bat. Ended up going to a full count. But
you talk
it has
about
to be so infuriating. You try to hold Ballstat at first, and this is just Ballstat's world, and we're all living in it.
And you talk about the pitch count. We are starting to see maybe just a little bit of action in the LaGrange dugout. It looks like Jack Richards, who is stepping up over there, who we did see pitch earlier in the series.
Swing and a miss, this time from Isaac Molinak. He actually got a piece of that one. It brings the count to 0-2, a no-2 count with 2 outs. Runner on first. Lions break the tie. It's a 4-3 ball game now. Lions lead. This one's going to be popped up and sent back into the side hill over by the parking lot by the tennis courts. Speaking of tennis, they had a fantastic showing out yesterday. Both men's and women's winning all of their matches yesterday. It was a great day for Piedmont sports. Men's lacrosse defeated undefeated Pfeiffer College to take hold of the top spot in the USA South. Women's lacrosse had a huge win on the road. And Piedmont baseball won both games yesterday against LaGrange. Now we'll see a single from Molinak that takes Barton from first all the way to third as Barton slides to avoid the tag from the third baseman, Joe Ruth. And this is where I think we're really seeing the fatigue from Bailey Coleman after all of those pickoff attempts.
Certainly starting to see it. We've not seen a mound visit quite yet, but I do think it's in Bailey Coleman's future. We also see now a runner in scoring position for Piedmont. Some more 2-out magic, if you will, here at the Milk Jug. And we're seeing some more pickoff attempts getting weaker and weaker.
He's just wearing himself out at this point. If I were to count all the times he's made the pickoff attempts at first, I think he's north of 20 at this point. Swing and a miss from Scott Lyon, who's in the box for the Lions right now. He's at strike one. 0-1 count for the designated hitter. He has a ground out and a hit by pitch so far today.
Can feel the tension here at the Jug.
Coleman with the delivery. He finds the zone for strike two.
Just know with Ballstat on third, anything, a single here, just any sort of base hit will truly get another man running in. Score obviously 3-4, tight as ever.
Runners on first and third. We see another pickoff attempt at first from Coleman. Molinak and Barton, the runners for Piedmont right now. Molinak on first, Barton on third. Barton already had that RBI single that brought home Carter Ballstat earlier in this inning that broke the tie for the Lions. And Molinak's going to head over to second, and I think he would have gotten there if Scotty Lyon hadn't gotten a piece of that one and sent it back into the backstop. Lyon will step back into the right-handed batter's box. Coleman glancing back at first. He knows Molinak was really going for that steal on that last one. So I'm imagining we're probably going to see 2 or 3 in a row here as far as pick attempts are concerned. It's a delivery to Lyon. Lyon with a check swing gets sent over into the LaGrange dugout. Keeps the count at 0-2 with 2 outs. This has really felt like a very long 5th inning.
Has been extremely long with not a lot of pitches, just pickoff attempts.
At least that's just in the bottom of the 5th. We also had a very long top of the 5th inning where LaGrange was able to generate some offense and really pose a huge threat for the Lions to possibly even break the tie. Here's the delivery to Lyon. Swing and a miss from Scott Lyon, and the inning is over. A strikeout from Scott Lyon. That's the 3rd strikeout for Bailey Coleman. You can see the elation as he finally gets to step off of the mound here in the end of this inning. Just too many throws from Bailey Coleman in that inning. Lions break the tie after Ballstack comes home off of an RBI single from Mac Barton after he steals 2nd. After 13 pickoff attempts at first, Lions take a 4-3 lead heading into the top of the 6th. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Piedmont University Athletics on YouTube.
Welcome back to Piedmont University Athletics on YouTube. Here at the top of the 6th, the score is 4-3, tight as ever. Just as the entire series has been so far. Lions lead the series 2-0 after taking the sweep in the doubleheader yesterday. We'll see Kurt Bonner step up to bat. A ground out and a fly out in this game so far. We'll see another ground out for a quick 1 out. Adam Nativier still on the mound for the Lions.
I think Adam Nativier definitely had a long rest after a very long bottom of the 5th, pitched by Bailey Coleman. I think that's a great way to catch your breath and just kind of come back after you would just pitch those first 4 innings. He's already entering now his 6th inning of work, and he looks refreshed. He looks refreshed.
A good amount of work done so far. He's got 5 hits against him today, 2 earned runs. Only struck out 1 man, but certainly his infield and outfield have helped him out a lot, as that pitch will just go straight through the hands of, or straight through the glove of Tyler Nelson. 1-1 the count, 1 out.
It's a pass ball. Fortunately, no runners on base for them to try and advance.
See it bounce out once again. David Schmigelski at bat right now, 2 RBIs and a hit on the day. Also got a ground out. He actually had a double earlier. And we'll see this one be smacked all the way back to center field, but that'll be an easy catch routine for Carter Ballstack in center for the 2nd out of the top of the 6th. Up next, Jared Aldridge. Not much for him today, just 2 flyouts. Would love to see a hat trick of flyouts if you're a Lions fan. We'll see if that can happen here.
Let's just kind of talk about this. The way that Piedmont works defensively, they just work quickly. I mean, look at this. A throw for a ground out and 3 up and 3 down. That was an incredibly fast inning. Bailey Coleman was on that mound for what felt like about 20 minutes in the bottom of the 5th inning, and that top of the inning just took 5 minutes.
Not even 5 minutes.
Not even 5 minutes, and now he has to step back onto the mound, go back to pitching, and that is just the way Piedmont works. Very fast work, very fast, especially defensively, because they know they have a strong infield, and so they know that as far as pitching is concerned, they don't need to worry too much about trying to make sure they get those strikeouts. They know that they can pretty much pitch with no fear of a lot of balls getting through the infield. And
Got a lot of athleticism in the infield and the outfield. We will see. It does look like Bailey Coleman is returning to the mound. Gotta wonder how fatigued he is after what was 13 pick or over around maybe 15 or 16 pickoff attempts total
in that inning.
In the 5th inning. We'll be right back, and we'll be here with the bottom of the 6th. Your Piedmont Lions are up to bat. We'll be right back here listening to Piedmont University Athletics on YouTube. Welcome back to Piedmont University Athletics on YouTube. My name is Chloe Spradlin. With me is Matt Kudrowski. We are here, bottom of the 6th. Your Lions lead by 1. Another competitive affair and what's been a competitive series so far. Your Lions do lead the series 2-0 so far, trying to go for the sweep. We'll see if the Lions can make that happen. Nathan Mix up to bat here. Last time out, he had a sac bunt. That sac bunt helped out his team for a 4-3 lead here. He'll make contact straight to third to first, and the first pitch, first out for the Lions. We had a very, very long 5th inning, and in about 4-minute span, we're at the bottom of the 6th. Lions on defense made quick work of LaGrange in a 1-2-3. Not trying to see the same happen here. We'll return to the top of the lineup. Colton Hicks up to bat. Not much for him today. Got a run on him, but he's had a strikeout, reach on error, and a ground out. Would love to see him get some action in the hits category. 0-1 start for Hicks here in the bottom of the 6th. And he'll go 0-2 after a pitch is taken high outside inside the zone.
I think you're definitely right about, well, at least when you were talking about how long that 5th inning was, I think it definitely worked in the Lions' favor because you saw Bailey Coleman kind of really wear his arm out there, and then really kind of opened up a lot more opportunities for the Lions to score, and it resulted in bringing a run home to break the tie.
We'll see how Bailey Coleman can work now after what was around 20 pickoff attempts, not to mention the pitches he had as well. We are seeing action in LaGrange bullpen. We'll see. Ball fouled off here, 2-2 to count now. But Bailey Coleman's got to be feeling some sort of fatigue. Got 6 hits on the day, only one earned run. We'll see what he can do if he's feeling any sort of fatigue, if he starts missing some spots. This one's going to go high. Full count now.
He does have 3 strikeouts so far today, so his pitching has been on point. There's times you're wondering how much is he actually focusing on his pitching.
We'll see a ball smacked over left center. That's going to drop. Certainly going to be a double. And with the speed of Colton Hicks, you wouldn't doubt it going triple. Smart to stay at the second. So Colton Hicks gets a hit in the category of the double. Good stuff by Colton Hicks. And now up to bat, Tyler Nelson. Another guy who's lacking a hit today. 3 flyouts. Carter Ballstat on deck. Only 1 out with the man in scoring position. See what Tyler Nelson can do. That was a great hit there from Colton Hicks. Great placement, and it dropped perfectly. We are still monitoring the weather here.
Slow day for Tyler Nelson so far. He's got a couple of flyouts and a pop out. He's going to look to change that pace in this at-bat.
Nelson will take his first pitch strike. Looked right down the middle. So we'll see what he can do here now. After all those pickoff attempts, it doesn't look like pitcher Bailey Coleman has missed his spot too many times, just once, and maybe that was a time there, and it looks like it might be a double play. No, yes, it is a double play. It was a catch off the line out. Colton Hicks got caught. Was trying to go back to second, and instead we're going to go to the top of the 7th. Quick work made.
Actually, before you say that, though, it looks like Coach Scally is going to have a quick official with the umpires. It looks like the umpires are going to have a quick talking over, I think Colton Hicks was arguing that that ball did in fact hit the ground, and that would have gone down as a hit for Tyler Nelson.
I think Scally
like the officials
has
are going to have a quick work with one another.
I do think Coach Scally has a point. It was extremely tight. It was right on the tip of the glove. We'll let the officials have their conversation. We'll come back with what the decision is. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Well, that was a short break.
That was a very quick ruling, too. They're going to rule that Tyler Nelson's hit, in fact, did not touch the ground. So that'll go down as a pop-out for Tyler Nelson, and Colton Hicks with the tag out at second for, or at least the force out at second for the double play to close out the inning.
So it will close out the sixth with a double play. Unlucky for the Lions, but we will see a same man step back up, Adam Mativier. So we'll be right back, and up next is the seventh. Stay with us. You're listening to Piedmont Lions Baseball on YouTube.
Welcome back, Piedmont University Athletics on YouTube here at the top of the seventh. It's almost time to go stretching, but before we do, Lions currently lead 4-3, and LaGrange a chance to try and close in on that lead. Will lead things off with the first baseman, number 19, Brody Hollingsworth. He has a walk and a pop-out so far in today's game. He's going to send this one into right center field, and it looks like Molinak will track that one down and make a pretty routine fly out, or routine play for out number one. And now it will bring Adam Dorn, the second baseman, up to the plate. He had a double his last time out. That was his first hit of this series. A double for the second baseman, number 2. Does that seem like a coincidence, Chloe?
You and these numbers, man.
0-1 count for Dorn. Mativier entering his 7th inning of work. Here's the pitch. High and outside for ball 1. Evens the counting, 1-1 with 1 out. A lot of ones here in the top of the 7th. And LaGrange is down by 1. Mativier with the 1-1 pitch. High off the plate, makes it 2-1. Mativier with the windup and the delivery. This one's low and inside for ball 3. Dorn now facing a 3-1 count. It's the hitter's count. Mativier with the pitch. Dorn will swing on that one. He's going to foul that one back over into the side hill by the parking lot. He'll face a full count now. Dorn will step back into the box. Mativier with the windup and the pitch. Dorn with a grounder over to second. Hicks with the throw to first, and that will be out number 2. Second ground out for Dorn today, and it brings the shortstop, Jackson McKelvey, up to the plate. He has a ground out and a fly out, 0 for 2 so far today.
Now batting number 3, Jackson.
Came into this game batting .333 for the series. Here's the first pitch from Mativier to McKelvey. He's going to send this one to center field. Ballstat will backpedal, track that one down, and that's an easy fly out. 3 up and 3 down for the top of the 7th, and stretch time. Lions still lead 4-3. And now we're going to take a quick break as Take Me Out to the Ball Game fills the air here in Loudermilk Field. This is Piedmont University Athletics on YouTube.
Okay.
Welcome back to Piedmont University Athletics on YouTube as we get started here with the bottom of the 7th. We had a very quick top of the 7th with a pair of flyouts and a ground out. Lions make quick work of the lineup, and now we'll be going 3-4-5 here in the Lions lineup here in the bottom of the 7th. We get things started with Carter Ballstadt. He's got a ground out, a double, and a single. He's also the tie-breaking run after he stole second and came in off of an RBI single from Mac Barton. First pitch, a swing and a miss for Ballstadt. Makadrowski and Chloe Spraglin bringing you the action for Loudermilk Field as Ballstadt grounds this one over to short. A quick throw to first, and that will be out number 1.
One thing to note statistic-wise, this is for on the mound. Bailey Coleman is approaching 100 pitches. We are seeing action in the bullpen. Can't quite pinpoint who it is. We've got multiple arms in there. But certainly, I mean, he's pitching rather well, not to mention all of the pickoff attempts. But certainly, the end of the line is coming for Bailey Coleman. He's pitched pretty well so far. He's won well over 100 pitches so far. 1-1 the count now.
And in contrast to how Coleman has done, Materier's only pitched between 75 to 80 pitches. So we're seeing a drastic difference. On top of that, Coleman we've lost count of just how many pickoff attempts he has gone for. We're going to see the umpire kind of step away for a brief second. Kyle Carlson kind of wondering what's up. He's going to step out of the box for a brief second. So far for Carlson, he has a walk, a double, and a pop out. He'll step back into the box. Umpire set to go. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Carlson with a grounder to short. McKelvey with the throw to first. And that will be out number 2. So back-to-back groundouts from Ballstadt and Carlson brings Trace Kate, the right fielder, up to the plate. He's got a pop out, a hit by pitch, and a fly out so far. As Kate steps into the box, Coleman is set to go. You see a pitcher warming up in the bullpen for LaGrange. This might be Coleman's last inning. Finds the zone for strike 1. His first pitch to Kate. 0-1 count, 2 outs. Here's the delivery. We'll check his swing. Kate did not go around. He'll even the count at 1-1 with 2 outs.
That was tight from Kate, maybe like an inch or two more, and that's certainly going to be called a strike there. Looks like they're going to have conversation now, and umpire is going to say something to one of the coaches in the LaGrange dugout, telling him to calm himself and reminding him who truly has the authority.
1-1 pitch from Coleman. Seems to miss the zone yet again. Brings the count to 2-1. 2 outs. And Mac Barton, the first baseman, on deck for the Lions. Now a 3-1 count and a hitter's pitch for Trace Kate. The windup in the delivery from Coleman. Kate, a grounder to short. And a throw to first. 3 straight ground outs, all of them to Jackson McKelvey at short. So Jackson McKelvey doing a great job of manning his position at short. 3 straight ground outs, and that is the 7th inning. Lions still lead 4-3 as we go into the top of the 8th. Now the question is, can they hold on as this game and this series reaches a final climax, a final conclusion? Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Piedmont University Athletics on YouTube.
Welcome back to Piedmont University Athletics on YouTube. We're at the top of the 8th. Your Piedmont Lions lead in an extremely tight game, 4-3. We've not seen a run scored since the 5th, 1 each for both teams. LaGrange will step up to bat at the top of the order. Rhett Mixon, we do see a pitching change as we are going through the 3rd time through the lineup. Number 37, Braden Sims, will deliver his first pitch, called ball just outside.
Braden Sims, he did a great job closing out Game 1 earlier in this series. Now he returns here in Game 3, and hopefully we'll see a similar result with Piedmont getting the victory.
We'll see the second pitch from Braden Sims, called strike 1-1 the count. We're hearing the claps from LaGrange. It looks like even their dugout is joining them on it. We'll see some action here now. Ball will go straight towards second baseman, and it'll be an easy out for the first out of the 8th. Hicks to Barton ends the day, or it's perhaps ends the day. We might have to see for Rhett Mixon. So Jorge Fregoso will step up to bat now. He's got a hit on the day as well as an RBI. That hit was a double.
It's a single and double, actually.
Jorge Fregoso's had a very good series so far. Despite the 2 losses, he'll start off with a swing and a miss.
Yeah, Fregoso's coming into Game 3, currently batting .429 for this series with 3 hits off of 7 at-bats.
Another strike there, right on the outside of the plate. Perfectly gets his spot. So 0-2 the count, and here's the 0-2 pitch. And that'll go low in the dirt. Tyler Nelson's going to have to go up to retrieve that on the third base line. 1-2 the count now. Braden Sims on the season has pitched in 30 innings, got 26 hits, 31 strikeouts, and 30.1 innings. Extremely effective. We'll see that ball fouled, line foul.
Braden Sims has been an outstanding closer for the Lions so far this season. He even had 3 strikeouts in his brief appearance in Game 1.
So just like last pitch, we start off 1-2, the count, 1 out already. After a ground out to the top of the order, Rhett Mixon, Jorge Fregoso will make the count go even at 2.
We haven't seen the claps too much, I would say, in Game 3. They didn't really show up until about the 4th or 5th inning. Yeah, but it's been effective every single time.
I would say even later than that. See how effective it can be here. We'll see it popped up, pop back. 2-2 still the count. That one not quite going to go to the softball field, but certainly no souvenir for anyone. The claps are back. It's going to be put in action. It just might hit right in between the diamond, and it's going to be, we'll see two Piedmont players collide, perhaps a double. Called safe. Jorge Fregoso will reach to second base after a collision between the shortstop, Nathan Mix, and the left fielder, Isaac Molinak. Just not great communication there. It's the second time this series, actually, Matt, that we've seen two Piedmont players collide in the outfield. Need to increase their communication there. Communication wins games. But we will see now the third man in the order. Joe Ruth step up, had a slow start to the series, but today has certainly picked it up. It's got two singles and a run to his name. His third at bat was a fly out. We'll see this one go foul just past the Piedmont bullpen. 0-1 the count now. One out, a man on second. Jorge Fregoso. Take a look at his base running. Not seeing too many steals, only one so far. But he is certainly reaching off the bag, so Braden Sims, the new man on the mound, will have to take note of that.
And one thing about Braden Sims, he's just been operating so quick. The claps haven't really been lasting too long before he does that pitch. I'm not sure if that means that it's not really having much of an effect on him.
See some action here. It's going to go through the center field gap. So see a throw all the way to home plate, but it doesn't matter. The game is all tied up. Great base running from Jorge Fregoso. And only one out. Braden Sims will let in a run. 2 hits in the inning so far. Not to mention a man on first. So an RBI single for Joe Ruth. Joe Ruth really saying, hey, I might not have had a great first couple games. He had 0 hits in the first 2, but he's got 3 today.
Yeah, I was about to say he's been fantastic today with 3 hits. Only 1 pop out so far, but wow, Joe Ruth coming in clutch when it matters most.
Strike there, first pitch for Kurt Bonner. Bonner no hits on the day, just 2 ground outs and a fly out. 0-1 the count. And runner, the pickoff attempt will be called safe.
That was a brilliant pickoff attempt. That ball was perfectly placed. Mac Barton had, it was a perfectly clean motion, just reaching for the ball, and the glove was just inches away from the runner as he was diving for the base.
That pitch just almost hooked him. Hooked inside, up high. Saw Kurt Bonner have to duck. It's a little matrix move. 1-1 the count now. 1-1 the count now. The claps are coming. They've certainly been effective so far here in the top of the 8th. See that pitch called ball, 2-1 the count. You can slowly start to feel the pendulum of momentum shift in favor of the boys in red, the number 9 team ranked in the nation. You see a strike called, so 2-2 the count now. Braden Sims getting back ahead here.
Brilliant pitch by Sims. I'm not really sure if Bonner went all the way around, if that had any kind of factor into the call, but just a brilliant pitch overall.
Here's 2-2. The ball will be put in play. Mac Barton might make a mistake here. See, and the runner will be called safe. And Mac Barton, do believe that's his 2nd error of the day. Extremely unlike him.
Bonner should have just let that one go, let Colin Hicks scoop that up, and probably made the throw to second to force out.
So now Bonner and Ruth find themselves on the bases. David Smigelski steps up to the plate. He's got a hit on the day, 2 RBIs as well. One guy who's been playing very well. For LaGrange, Smigelski, his lone hit of the day was a double. RBI double. So his first pitch will go foul over in on a hill by some trees. So 0-1 the count now. Still only 1 out. We do see some action in the Piedmont bullpen. Not quite sure who's over there pitching. The claps continue. 0-1 pitch. And that'll go way wild pitch. We'll see runners coming all the way. Looked like Ruth just thought about coming all the way home, but instead he'll stay. So now Bonner will go to second. Ruth will go to third. 2 runners in scoring position, and the Lions really need to get it together.
That really hurts because that eliminates the chance of a double play. And I thought the Lions had a fantastic chance at a double play on that last chance until Mac Barton just missed the grab on that grounder. And now we see Coach Scally making a mound trip, talking to his entire infield, just telling them, hey guys, let's take a breather here. We need to recoup, and we just need to make sure we get our heads back in the game.
Seeing one of the best infields in the Collegiate Conference of the South, this is really, really uncharacteristic of them, having to have an entire meeting with Coach Scally, just giving them some instruction. We do see action in the bullpen, like I said prior. Coach Scally certainly doesn't want to take his man out. Do you think we saw Braden Sims pitch in the first game yesterday? Do you think some of this has to do with fatigue, Matt?
I'm not exactly sure because Braden Sims wasn't really in too many. He didn't really throw too many pitches in that first game because we saw the starting pitcher, Bodie Eilertson, pulled at the end of the 7th. So going into the 8th, we saw Sims really kind of take over for just those 2 innings. They were both really quick, really short innings. This is the longest inning that Sims has been in this series.
Speaking of taking over, LaGrange are on their way trying to do that. This ball will be fly out in the infield. Runner will tag from third, and the ball will go to third. So now LaGrange will take the lead. 5-4 is your score now. Be a sac fly for, I do believe that was David Smigelski. So now Jared Aldridge will step up to bat.
Number 27, Jared Aldridge.
Batting .250 in the series. He's got a ground out and a fly out to his name in this game. I'd like to see one of those. A man on second. Swing and a miss. Braden Sims in just this inning has 3 hits, 2 runs, both of them earned. His ERA will increase to 3.52.
I think we mentioned earlier about how a lot of the Piedmont pitchers, they really don't waste a lot of time between their pitches. I think the speed is really kind of killed here for Sims here in his appearance in this inning.
Be popped back for a foul ball. 1-2 the count now. Would like to see a strikeout here. We want to see our Lions go put in some work at the bottom of the 8th. Got to get there first. The 1-2 pitch. Runner on second. The stakes could not be higher. It's going to be popped just a little bit. A bouncer. A ball will be thrown to first. That's going to be the 3rd out of the top of the 8th. Braden Sims gets out of it, but not without some damage done to the Lions. Lions drop the lead, and LaGrange take over. The score is now 5-4, and we're going to the bottom of the 8th. Your Lions are up to bat. We'll start off with Mac Barton. Stay with us. You're listening to Piedmont University Athletics on YouTube. Welcome back to Piedmont University Athletics on YouTube. It's been an extremely tight game. As you can see, the score is 5-4. Tight as ever. In the last inning, Braden Sims came in to pitch for the starting pitcher, Adam Mativier. Saw the third go through of the lineup and let in a run. So, Lions need to get something done here. Mac Barton will step up to the plate, will take his first one strike. Bailey Coleman has seen well over 100 pitches now, and he is still on the mound.
He's entering his 8th inning of work. He has to be exhausted by this point, especially with how many times we've seen him trying to pick off runners. This man has to be exhausted. I don't know how his arm hasn't fallen off yet.
He's got 4 runs on the day. Only one of them earned. Has walked only one runner. Got 3 strikeouts to his name. We'll see this ball a little bit high. So 2-1 the count now for Mac Barton. And the sun, out of nowhere, is just going to pop up. I think this could be huge for the Lions. If you get one high in the outfield, the LaGrange Panthers might struggle to catch it, so we'll see. 2-2 the count now.
Here's something else. Look at that flag. The wind is at Mac Barton's back right now, and with the power that he can put on the ball, he could leave the yard right now if he wants to.
Mac Barton, one of the most powerful hitters in this Piedmont lineup. Count goes full. See what he can do here. Tension high as ever, as it has been the entire series. Swing and a miss. And Bailey Coleman will celebrate that one hard. He deserved that one, as he's probably pitched around, with my estimate, probably around 115 times maybe. We do see action in the bullpen. Couldn't pick out all of the names I see. One guy was Eli Folds, who did, in fact, pitch yesterday. A lot of pitching changes, actually, yesterday we saw. We will see some action here, but we'll go straight to the shortstop. It will be thrown to first base, and he will get him out. The ball was high. It's a good play from Hollingsworth. Has to jump down. Didn't grab him on the bag. Instead, just tagged him with his glove. So, a 1-2 start. Don't want to make it 3. Scott Lyon will step up.
Actually, no, we have a pinch hitter. It's Carson Stravinskas. Do you remember that guy? The guy who had the 3 RBI triple in the last game?
Stravinskas, if there's one man, if we've seen in this series, if there's one man who can pinch hit and be successful with it, it's Carson Stravinskas. Came in to pinch hit for Isaac Molinak in the second game yesterday with the bases loaded. Didn't quite get the grand slam, but got something almost just as good. Hit it off the wall to left field, 370, and got a 3 RBI triple. Had cleared the bases. We'll see him swing and miss there. The count goes 1-1. Extremely impressive showing for Bailey Coleman. Got 7 hits on the day, but is still out here pitching. Sees the trust that the LaGrange head coach has in his pitcher. So the 2-1 count, 2 outs. We'll see this one fouled back to make the count go even at 2. And something about Bailey Coleman here. Certainly just getting it done. Not too much action in the Piedmont bullpen. See a couple guys there, but no warming up, just sitting and watching. Count goes full now.
I can imagine this has to be the last inning for Bailey Coleman, especially if this score gets very tight going into the 9th inning. I don't see how LaGrange could risk putting their starting pitcher through 9 full innings of pitching.
So Stravinskas will get the walk, will make his way to first, and Nathan Mix will step up. Nathan Mix has had a very good series so far. Not the best day. Had a sac bunt to his name, as well as 2 ground outs and a strikeout.
We also have a pinch runner at first for the Lions, number 2, Skylar Willis. Skylar Willis, he has got some wheels.
So a man who's going into pinch run, Nathan Mix at bat. Next up, you've got Colton Hicks, who hit a double earlier. Maybe some 2-out magic. If there's any time to get that magic, you need it now. And Braden Sims is going back for the pickoffs. If you missed it earlier on, we saw 1 inning. I do believe it was the 6th or the 7th inning, Matt, where there was over 20 pickoff attempts for Braden Sims. It was the 5th inning, actually, because that was the last inning that Piedmont had scored in.
Yeah, Carter Ballstat was at first, and he was there for 13 of Bailey Coleman's pickoff attempts in that inning. It was absolutely ridiculous, to say the very least. It was bonkers.
Nathan Mix still waiting. He'll receive, and he'll take a strike. 0-1 the count, 2 outs. And the sun coming out. Looks like maybe some shade is slightly coming over the outfield, but nothing to adjust how Nathan Mix will read the ball approaching him. Count still 0-1 after another pickoff attempt.
With the sun out, you're just getting the direct heat, especially with how humid it already is with the rain. It's got to be sweltering out there on that field.
It's got to be hot. Some shade now. 0-2 the count. LaGrange fans are cheering their pitcher on, Bailey Coleman. Such an impressive show out today.
I mean, if he gets out of this, he will have pitched 8 total innings, which is absolutely unheard of.
Especially in the college game. This next pitch could make or break, not before a pickoff. But if this pitch does not go the way the Lions want it to, there's one silver lining. It's that when you go into the 9th, you've got your top 3 of the order. You got to get there first. Let's see. Can Mix do it? The 0-2 pitch. Be called ball. 1-2 now. Still life for Mix.
That one was very high off of the plate.
Go, Mix.
Another pickoff attempt. The pickoff's getting weaker and weaker by Bailey Coleman. As we talked about earlier in the 5th, the pickoff attempts for Carter Ballstat were extremely strong, but
makes me wonder
just slight now.
Makes me wonder how strong those pitches are as a result of all those pickoffs.
The 1-2 pitch. And we'll see an attempt to steal. He'll go. Will he be called out? And he will. That will end the 8th. The pinch runner does not work for Piedmont, and we'll go to the top of the 9th. Bailey Coleman has pitched his way through 8 innings, and if that is the end for Coleman, what a game it was.
What a way to get out. That must have been at least 120 pitches, probably 130 if I'm being generous. But wow, it's do or die time for these Lions. They need to shut down LaGrange here in the top of the 9th, and it'll be the bottom of the order, 7, 8, and 9 up for LaGrange. 1, 2, and 3 up. Actually, no, it'll be 9, 1, and 2 up for the Lions in the bottom of the 9th to see if there's any kind of milk jug magic here this Sunday afternoon here in Demorest. But only time will tell.
We'll be right back. Stay with us for the top of the 9th in this must-win game for both teams. You're listening to Piedmont University Athletics on YouTube.
Welcome back to Piedmont University Athletics on YouTube. Matt Kajowski and Chloe Spraglin bringing you the top of the 9th inning here in Demorest, Georgia. The wind is really kicking up. The flag is pretty much on end, facing the back. So the wind at the back of Brody Hollingsworth, the first baseman for LaGrange, as he steps up to get things started for the 9th. LaGrange scores 2 in the top of the 8th to take the lead. They lead 5-4. First pitch from Braden Sims to Hollingsworth. Finds the lower at the zone for strike 1. Sims pitched all of the 8th inning, relieving for Adam Mativier. Next pitch from Sims, misses the lower half of the zone for ball 1, evens the count at 1-1. The claps are back for LaGrange. Sims on the 1-1 pitch. This one sent to center. Ballstat will track it down. He'll make the play for out number 1. A fly out from Brody Hollingsworth. And now we'll see the second baseman, Adam Dorn, step up to the plate. He's had a pair of groundouts and a double. That double is his first hit of this series.
It's a good start there. The name for the game for Braden Sims is avoid more damage. For the first time in the series, the Lions will have to go to the bottom of the 9th, and they need to get some runs there, but you cannot give any more here to make it easier for your guys. Maybe a walk-off or at the minimum extra innings.
A grounder right through the gap into center. That'll be a single for Adam Dorn. That's his second hit of this series, second hit of today's game. And it brings the shortstop, number 3, Jackson McKelvey, up to the plate. He has a ground out and a pair of flyouts so far today. He has been very effective, especially from his shortstop position defensively. Just
saw another man make his way to the Piedmont bullpen. It's Kelton Kieschnick, the senior righty.
See if Kieschnick comes in here to relieve Sims here in the top of the 9th. Here's some ooze from the crowd. I hope that foul ball didn't hit anybody. It looks like it might have came close. Sun peeking through the clouds. We'll see what kind of effect it has in this conclusion of the game. This one's going to be sent into right field. Trace Kate back at the wall. He'll catch that one for out number 2. Dorn will retreat back to first.
Now batting number 24, Rhett.
So McKelvey with the fly out. We're back to the top of the order with the right fielder, Rhett Mixon. He's been quiet all series. Came into this game batting .222, and so far today he has a pair of lineouts, a strikeout, and a ground out. All in all, though, he's still one of the best players on this LaGrange roster. We'll see a pick attempt at first, and Dorn will get back and live to see another day. Claps are coming all around from the LaGrange faithful. Here's the pitch, and Rhett Mixon is going to make some contact and foul it off left. Makes the count 0-1, and it wouldn't surprise me if all of a sudden we see Rhett Mixon fall 0-2. That's kind of a pattern that we've seen from him so far in this series. He has struck out 6 times in this series. Here's the pitch. This one, what a field by Sims, and a light little toss to first. Gets the Lions out at the top of the 9th. We go to the bottom, and it's do or die time for the Lions. They need 1 to keep it going, 2 to walk it off. And we will see how this game concludes right after this break. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Piedmont University Athletics on YouTube. Welcome back to Piedmont University Athletics on YouTube. This is the conclusion of the series, or will it? We will find out. Lions trail by 1 here in the bottom of the 9th. We have a pinch hitter in for Nathan Mix, and it's number 5, James Whitmer. James, he can really pack a lot of punch, and we've seen him leave the yard before in his Piedmont career. So Coach Scally putting the trust in his senior to lead things off here in the bottom of the 9th for the Lions. Makadrowski and Chloe Spraglin bringing you the action here from the jug. On top of that, you see a new pitcher out there for LaGrange, number 21, Eli Folds. We saw him in yesterday's doubleheader. Did not make it through too many innings pitched. First pitch is up high off the plate for ball 1. Second pitch finds the upper half of the zone. Actually, for strike 1. So even count at 1-1. Here's the 1-1 pitch to Whitmer. Whitmer takes again, and it'll be called strike 2. Tension is high here in Loudermilk Field. Here's the pitch. Whitmer, swing and a miss. A strikeout from James Whitmer.
Now batting number 3,
And strike first K for Eli Folds brings Colton Hicks up to the plate for the Lions. So far for Hicks, he has a ground out, a single, a strikeout, and a double. Anything can happen. Here's the first pitch. Hicks sends this one high into the sky. Looks for to be shallow center field. And Fregoso will chase that one down for out number 2.
at the plate number 1, Tyler Nelson.
Now we see the catcher, Tyler Nelson, step up to the plate. He hasn't really had anything today. 2 flyouts and 2 pop-outs. He has definitely been due for something in this game. 2 outs, looking for some 2-out magic, some milk jug magic here in the bottom of the 9th to either keep this game alive or walk things off. Folds the delivery, finds the zone for strike 2. An 0-2 count for Eli Folds, and I think we're about to see some very loud claps from the LaGrange faithful. Here's the pitch, swing and a miss. LaGrange with the comeback here to win game 3. Oh my goodness.
Wow. At the beginning of the game, the Lions had their hands on the brooms, but LaGrange shut the door. They didn't just shut it, they slammed the door and said, "Nah, I don't think so." They came to the jug and got it done. Only, I do believe, the 3rd loss all year here at the jug. Still, the Lions will take the series, and I think it's a very impressive series out there. A lot to take away from if you are Piedmont. Good stuff yesterday, not so great today. Lions struggled. They had a lot of hits, but when it came to making those hits count and turn into runs, they just couldn't do it. And the Panthers were able to take advantage, especially of a struggling lineup. So,
But don't be mistaken, though. Lions, Piedmont needs to be proud. Keep their heads held high. They won this series 2-1 against the number 1 team in the conference. So it didn't end quite the way you wanted to, but still getting the series win. Congratulations to Piedmont on the 2-1 victory against LaGrange. LaGrange, we hope you travel safely. That's going to wrap it up here from Loudermilk Field for Makadrowski, Chloe Spraglin, Danielle Percival, and her amazing staff. Jade Edwards running things for us here. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time from the Jug.